Joining us on the broadcast, we have Dr. M.J. Khan, who is the president of IMPAR. Major Muhammad Ali Shah is joining us on the broadcast. Professor Asif Ramiz Daudi is joining us, and Gautam Mukherjee is with us. Major Shah, we have a conundrum, and it's not an easy one. It's not limited to India. It's not limited to this part of the world. It's global. It's existing in the home of Makkah and Medina in Saudi Arab as well. Of how do we call out organizations that might be doing something that is not in keeping with the practices and teachings of Islam, at the same time not get consumed by you are Islamophobic or you're Hindu-phobic and you are this fanatic versus that fanatic sort of pigeonholes that we are stuck in?
Very good question, Rishabh. Now, before I come to your question, I would like to just put one thing in perspective. You know, the Tablighi Jamaat is not the Tablighi Jamaat, it's one umbrella organization.
Yeah.
Under that umbrella organization, there are different groups, different sects, and different Jamaats. So Tablighi basically means to get education, and Jamaat is a congregation. Like on Friday prayer, there's a Jamaat, which means a congregated prayer. So they have banned a group. They haven't banned the Tablighi Jamaat per se. They have banned Al-Wahhab group. That is one sect of it, which they would be having reservations against that group, yes. So now it is like saying, oh, we caught a terrorist by the name of so-and-so. That's like painting the entire community in the same brush. Actually, the way it's being reported, they haven't really banned Tablighi Jamaat. They have banned one sect, one group of the Tablighi Jamaat, which is not even the same Tablighi Jamaat, which was in news during the peak of COVID time when the COVID was starting in India. So it's a different group. It's a group from Nigeria, firstly. Now, secondly, coming back to your this, how do we get over this? See, we all have to coexist in peace and harmony. And the fact is, the Hindu-phobic or Islamophobic or any phobia comes from Quran Sharif itself. The first word in Quran Sharif is Iqra, to read, to educate, to understand. So that is, and see, many people from Islam itself, like this group, they would be, for all you know, Saudi Arabia would have had their own valid reasons for that. Because this particular group, it is like saying a group in terrorism. Say Lashkar-e-Toiba, when they read their Friday prayers, they are also Muslim, but not all Muslims are terrorists at the end of the day, which you also agree. And I'm glad you did great work on that, especially in COVID time, to clear the perception of people. Now, when, say, Lashkar-e-Toiba would have their Friday prayers or any terrorist group, that does not mean that that Jamaat that they're having on Friday is a Jamaat which anybody in Gurgaon or in Bombay would be having. That Jamaat is different. This Jamaat is different again. Mm-hmm. So when a news like this breaks out, that Saudi Arabia has banned the Tablighi Jamaat, it is actually, to put things in perspective, it has banned a particular group from the Tablighi Jamaat.
So it's a particular group within a group. Okay, fair enough. And a greater understanding of the subdivisions is utilitarian, but of course, like I said, it's not easy.
Listening to other panelists as well, and I agree with Ali Shah, is a friend of mine as well.
Major Shah, what we do know is that thousands of preachers are coming in from all over the world. You can't keep tabs on everyone. And when certain people were barred from entering the country, we were told this is being unfair, that on a COVID grounds, you're banning Muslims from entering India and preaching. In retrospect, should the Tablighis now respond to what the Saudis have done and come explain themselves that why this has come from the home of Mecca and Medina?
No, not really, Rishabh. You know, I will tell you, I have done Hajj and I have been to Mecca and Medina on performing Umrah. That's a small Hajj on various occasions, about 10 times almost. So I'll tell you one thing. So it's not that the Tablighis should come forward and tell Saudi Arabia that they're being unreasonable. No, because you cannot really generalize. Many of the Tablighi Jamaatis also would be वो भी इत्तेफाक रखते होंगे जो कि सऊदी अरेबिया ने जो डॉक्टर अब्दुल्ला अल लतीफ अल शेख ने जो फैसला लिया है, what he has decided, I'm sure a lot of Tablighi Jamaat also would be on the same page, because at the end of the day, how do we decide who's reasonable, who's unreasonable?
Yeah.
Anybody who goes against humanity, because Islam is actually a religion, a very, very reasonable religion, which actually practices humanity.
Okay, but Major Shah, here's the problem, right? So if somebody's got, now you've served in the forces, you understand the concept of intelligence. Now the intelligence has got some that of the 3,000 preachers, these 10 guys were up to no good. Okay? And they should not enter the country. Now, if that assessment is made, then should we be critical of that assessment? Should we accept it? Should we demand more proof on it? How do we make that assessment? Because somebody's got to make a call.
No, if they have taken a decision out of 3,000, 10 of them they're bad eggs. Fine, accept it. Just accept it, and you don't have to demand a proof on it. Accept it, but there must be some reason behind it. So definitely, I'm sure a lot of Tablighi Jamaati, as I told you, it's an umbrella organization, would be on the same page as what taken the decision, the Minister of Minority Affairs, of Islamic Affairs in Saudi Arabia, in fact. So most of them, they cannot question it because it is. I think they had the valid reason. I'm sure they would not.
Yeah. So I accept